Alright guys, part 7 of the 2J head. We're now doing the roof, and I don't know whether I've talked about the procedure in other videos, but you want to document what cutter you're using for different areas, even just on a bit of paper. I do it mentally now because I've been doing it for a long time, but when you're first starting, try and do the exact same spot in every single port with the same cutter. This will give you far better consistency. A lot of porters like to fully port one port, but the drama is, being humans, we'll always tend to get a little lazy towards the end, even if you're super disciplined on yourself. So I always suggest using the same cutter in the same area. So like I've shown through the videos, we do the floor, the floor, the floor, the floor, and then we measure each one using the same cutter, and then we'll do the roof, the roof, the roof, the roof. And we started with the window, the window, the window. The reason for that is it'll give you far more consistency when you go to measure it. So when I first started porting, I had a few guys give me a hand, and we would port the whole port and then try and simulate that. So that works okay if you're developing a port, but if it's a cylinder head you've already done before, you know what areas need improving, then you're far better off using the same tool with the same procedure in the same area in sequence, so following each other. This gives you a far more accurate port with less variances, and it also helps once you get to the point where you're doing a few cylinder heads, right? So for these 2Js, I've been doing them for 20 years, so I know where to go, I know what needs to be improved, and again, just that basic cross-sectional area mapping. All heads are going to fall into this. Where our MCA, or where we can put our MCA, is really the only variable in this equation. So once you understand that, you'll understand the airspeed is the king of all, and that's what makes horsepower. But what I wanted to show you with in this video especially is the core shift and how we're able to compensate using our eyes and keep the cross-sectional area right. Every one of these ports is slightly different in the shape, but all the cross-sectional areas are on target. See, and this is, again, when I come back to CNC, CNC can't do this. This is why we're able to optimize the efficiency of the head on better cross-sectional areas. So our flow area ratio will always be better. Most guys know this, but yeah, especially with the OEM stuff. So I'll turn the camera around, I'll show you where we're at, and I'll show you a couple of measurements. And again, I haven't really bothered going too crazy with measurements. I'm just using the calipers as a stop-go-stop at the moment. And even the dividers, you'll see I've turned some dividers this way, I've turned some dividers the other way, but the cross-sectional area is bang on, and that's the key here. All right, so if we start with the end port, again, these are just the calipers we're using. As you can see here, pretty much perfect all the way around, right? We're pretty good. But if we look at the port from out here, now I'm trying to stay dead on. As you can see, this side looks bigger than that side. That's because this wall actually goes straight to the seat. And this wall, what I've done is to keep the cross-sectional area on target, this wall actually bulges out and then back in slightly. And that's because the valve seats are actually off to this window, right? So if we were just to hog it out straight, we'd end up with a massive port, very, very laggy. That'll drop our boost thresholds, also create more lag, because that is our boost threshold mechanism. And then also will drop our horsepower per PSI. We won't see as good efficiency, because remember, it all starts from our NAVE profile, because all engines are boosted. All we are changing is the density, how close the air molecules are together. So, and even the divider, you can see I've angled and projected it to the center of the port. So if we look in here, and that's why now when we measure it from side to side, you'll see, I don't know if you can see that, you can see it's bang on center, right? But from the window, it doesn't look it. And then vice versa on this port. This port tends to go the other way. So this wall is now straight, and this wall's got a little tiny bulge in it. That's to keep the cross-sectional area in the port perfect. So the airspeed in this port is exactly the same as the airspeed in that port. And as you can see right along, this one goes the other way. As you can see, it's a little off. As soon as I tilt the camera in there, it looks great. But if I'm straight on, it doesn't look so good. But again, the CSA is bang on, right? And that's the key, right? And here's one we haven't done. So this was the roof that we just match ported, so we're going to do that. But again, you can see the cross-sectional area is pretty good from what we've done already. Now we've just got to basically clean that floor and thin this divider section out. So this is a bit of area I like to obviously get rid of because it's just a dead area. And this is basically what we end up with. Again, ignore this injector position because on the 2Js it's not even in the center of the head. This one's actually off. This one's the other way, as you can see. So I actually want that in the projected line of the runner, not lined up with this. I hope that makes sense, but yeah, you can pretty much see that. And same thing, we can see it's bang on. The divider is dead middle of the port, no matter, even if it looks, I'll try and get it on center, I'll come away. So even though one looks bigger than the other, it's actually not, because I'm actually shaping the walls different to keep the cross-sectional area on target. Hopefully that makes sense, guys. And the other thing, remembering that we are putting a slight taper in this because my MCA is going to be down in, basically, give me something to point. I want my MCA down near the valve seat, down in here. So that's where the smallest section is going to be. So the runner starts off big and then we tape it down, tape it down, tape it down. So it's a very, very gentle slope and reduction in cross-sectional area. I want the airspeed to peak down near the valve seat, or as close as we can get to that. That keeps my inertia length long, and that's what makes horsepower, guys.